Water and cooler right there. All right, good afternoon and happy 2016. School board members, this meeting is officially called to order on this Monday, January 4th, 2016. I'll be playing our acting chair until the chair is nominated here in the next few minutes, and then we'll do roll call, and then we will do an oath of office for our new members. So welcome to our new members today. And so, Member Leffler-Kemp, would you please read roll?
Member Harla.
Here.
Member Johnston. Member Kirby. Here. Member Oswell. Here. Member Sandsted. Here. Member Welty is absent. Superintendent Grunset. Here. Assistant Superintendent Starzecki. Deputy Clerk Bill Hansen. Here. Secretary Melinda Thibault. And Secretary Sue Tellerico. Okay.
Thank you very much, Member Leffler-Kemp. And now if our new members of the board would please rise. I'll turn on your lights so people can hear you as we have here. I'll turn 1, 2, and 3. So in the state of Minnesota, St. Louis County, so I'll say it, and then if you could repeat after me, please. I state your name.
I, Alana Oswald,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And I will faithfully discharge the duties of and I will faithfully discharge the duties of member of the school board.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the member of the school board.
Of Independent School District 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota.
Of Independent School District number 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota.
To the best of my judgment and ability.
To the best of my judgment and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, after months and months of hard work, 30 seconds to say yes and welcome. So we look forward to serving alongside you this year and starting afresh. We will move to the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second? Second from Member Kirby. So moved by Member Leffler-Kemp, seconded by Member Kirby. Kirby, any discussion on the agenda? Member Johnston.
Chair, just a question. Are we going to have ballots again during the election? Just like to know that ahead of time. Same as we have in the past. Thank you.
Yes, we will. Thank you for your question, Member Johnston. Mr. Hansen, at that time, will you let the chair know the process for the voting? Yes. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Any other questions? All those in favor, aye? Aye. All those opposed? Abstaining? Motion passes 6-0. Great. Next, we will have the election of the acting chair, or not, sorry, excuse me, going between a couple of, the election of the chairperson. Mr. Hansen, can you talk through the voting process for that, please? I know that I'll call for nominations, and then,
Yes, temporary chairperson Harla, you'll ask for nominations. Once the nominations have been closed, I will hand out the ballots to each of you. I would ask that you sign your name or your initials or your first name or something that can help me to indicate who's voting for who, because we do announce the votes by who they are cast for. And with 6 of you here, it'll be take a 4-vote majority at a minimum to elect a chairperson, and we'll keep doing that until somebody gets 4 votes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hansen. Appreciate your support. And so at this time, nominations are now in order for the office of the chair. Member Kirby.
I nominate Member Harla.
Member Kirby has nominated me as Member Harla. Are there any other nominations for the office of the chair? Are there any further nominations for the office of the chair? Are there any further nominations for the office of the chair? If there are no further nominations, office of the chair are closed. So if there are no further, do we still go through voting if there's only one nomination? I think we do. Yes. I think we can have a vote by proclamation unless there's a Member Johnston.
I'd like to vote by ballot.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, we will vote by ballot. Thank you. Mr. Hanson?
The votes are 5 for Member Harla and with 1 abstention.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I meant to say that Member Johnston was the abstention.
Thank you. With that, I appreciate your nomination, Member Kirby, and the majority of the board's support on being chair, and look forward to serving you as your chair in the coming year. Thank you very much. And now we'll move on to the election of the vice chairperson. Nominations are now in order for the office of the vice chair. Member Leffler-Kemp.
I'd like to nominate Member Kirby.
Okay. Member Kirby. Member Leffler-Kemp nominates Member Kirby. Are there further nominations for office of the vice chair? Member Johnston.
I'd like to nominate Member Leffler-Kemp.
Okay. Member Leffler-Kemp. Thank you. Are there any further nominations for office of the vice chair? Are there any further nominations for office of the vice chair? Any further nominations for the office of the vice chair? If there are no further nominations, nominations for the office of the vice chair are now closed. Thank you. Mr. Hanson.
Chair Harlow, we have four votes for Member Kirby from Member Sandsted, Member Leffler-Kemp, Member Harla, Member Kirby, and 2 votes for Member Leffler-Kemp from Member Oswald and Member Johnston.
Thank you. With the majority in place, congratulations, Member Kirby, on now Vice Chair Kirby, on your nomination and election as Vice Chair. We now move to have nominations are in order for office of the clerk, of election of the clerk. Nominations are now in order for office of the clerk. Member Sandsted.
I nominate Member Leffler-Kemp.
Member Leffler-Kemp. Are there any further nominations for office of the clerk? Member Oswald.
I nominate Art Johnston in the spirit of getting along.
Are there further nominations for office of the clerk? Are there further nominations for the office of the clerk? If there are no further nominations, nominations for the office of the clerk are now closed. Mr. Hansen.
Chair Harla, there are 4 votes for Member Leffler-Kemp from Member Kirby, Member Sandsted, Member Leffler-Kemp, and Member Harla. And there are 2 votes for Member Johnston from Member Johnston and Member Oswald.
Thank you. Congratulations, Member Leffler-Kemp, on being voted chair this coming year. Clerk, sorry, excuse me. Congratulations. And now we move on to the office of the treasurer. Nominations are now in order for office of the treasurer. Do we have any nominations for office of the treasurer? Member Leffler-Kemp.
I would like to nominate Member Sandsted.
Member Sandsted has been nominated by Member Leffler-Kemp. Are there any other nominations? Are there further nominations? Are there any further nominations for office of the treasurer? If there are no further nominations, nominations for the office of the treasurer are now closed. Mr. Hansen.
Chair Harla, there are 5 votes for Member Sandsted, 1 abstention. That is from Member Johnston.
Thank you very much. And congratulations to Member Sandsted on your election as our treasurer. All right, well, we will move on now that we have these elections have been walked through. We will now move on to the appointment of the deputy clerk. And so as chair, I will appoint Bill Hansen as the deputy clerk of the school board. And then we'll appoint board secretaries Melinda Thiebel and Sue Tallarico. And then we move on to have a handful of resolutions. And so I thought we would just go around since there's quite a few resolutions to go. So I'm actually going to move on to page 2. And Member Oswald, if you would be willing to please read Resolution 2, resolution, the selection of meeting dates and times. And so usually, I read resolution, then selection, meeting dates and times. And at the end, you say, I move resolution and the resolution numbers. So thank you very much.
Resolution selection of meeting dates, times. Resolved by the School Board of Independent Districts Number 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota, that the regular meetings of the school board shall be held the third Tuesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. at the historic Old Central High School, unless otherwise scheduled by the school board. I move Resolution B-1-16-3323. Is that good?
Yes, it has been moved by Member Oswald. And do I have a second? And seconded by Member Sandsted. Any discussion on the board meetings? Seeing no lights, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstention? The motion passes 6-0. Member Kirby, if you could please read page 3. And in this area, as you read through, if you just want to read the title names of each of the banks, that is fine. You don't need to read the details, but if you could please do read the paragraphs, that would be great. Thank you.
Resolution designation of depositories and acceptance of collateral. Resolved by the School Board of Independent School District Number 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota, that Duluth Teachers Credit Union, U.S. Bank, North Shore Bank of Commerce, Wells Fargo Bank, Park State Bank, BMO Harris Bank, Associated Bank, and Western Bank shall be the depositories of the funds of this school district for up to a 1-year period commencing January 1st, 2016, and said banks shall be required to deposit with said district collateral securities subject to approval by the school board and kept in trust. Resolved that the collateral securities pledged by Duluth Teachers Credit Union and placed in trust at Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, North Shore Bank of Commerce and placed in trust at U.S. Bank N.A., Key Bank and placed in trust at Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, all as provided by law and evidenced by trust agreements executed by the treasurer of the school board, an officer of the depository bank, and acknowledged by an officer of the bank holding the securities in trust shall be approved. And these are Duluth Teachers Credit Union, North Shore Bank of Commerce, BMO Harris Bank, U.S. Bank, Key Bank, Wells Fargo Bank, Park State Bank, Western Bank. Resolved that the treasurer, clerk, and or director of business services shall be authorized to arrange for the exchange, release, or placing of additional collateral, provided that in all instances such exchange, releases, or placing of additional collateral shall be approved by the school board, and all new collateral shall be placed in trust with the respective aforementioned institutions. I move the acceptance of Resolution B-1-16-3324.
It has been moved by Member Kirby. Do I have a second? Seconded by Member Sandsted. Any discussion? Seeing no lights, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution passes 6-0. Member Johnston, would you be willing to read page 4 resolution, the designation of authority to perform electronic fund transfers?
I'd like to move the following. resolution, designation of authority to perform electronic fund transfers. Resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota, that the CFO/Executive Director of Business Services has the authority to designate a district employees to initiate electronic fund transfers as required by Minnesota Statute 171.38. This is Resolution B-1-16-3325.
It's been moved by Member Johnston. Do I have a second? Seconded by Member Sandsted. Any discussion? Seeing no lights, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 6-0. On to page 5. Member Sandsted, will you please read the authorization for on page 5, or the resolution on page 5?
Resolution, authorization for Superintendent of Schools and CFO/Executive Director of Business Services to sign contracts and grants. Resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota, that to increase operational efficiency, it is requested that authorization to sign revenue contracts and expenditure contracts for the lease, purchase, and contract for goods or services within budgetary and policy limits up to $25,000 be granted to the Superintendent of Schools and CFO/Executive Director of Business Services. This delegation of authorization is allowable under Minnesota Statute 123B.52 Subdivision 2. The superintendent's designee will review each contract before execution. Resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota, that the Superintendent of Schools, or in his absence, the CFO/Executive Director of Business Services, be designated the legal authorized representative to sign applications and execute grant documents for and on behalf of the school district in connection with federal and state laws and funding authorities and local public and private funding agencies that offer categorical financial support to this school district. Resolved by the School Board of ISD 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota, that a list of all the above contracts and grants hereby approved by the superintendent or the CFO/Executive Director of Business Services will be provided as an informational item at the first possible regular school board meeting following the approval action. I move Resolution B-1-16-3326.
It's been moved by Member Sandsted. Do I have a second? Seconded by Member Oswald. Any discussion? Seeing no lights, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 6-0. Member Leffler-Kemp, will you please read page 6?
Yes. Resolution B-1-16-3327. Resolution, selection of district's legal counsel, resolved by the School Board of Independent School District Number 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota, that the following firms have been selected as legal counsel for the district. Freiberger, Buchanan, Smith, and Frederick in Duluth, Ratrick, Rosrak, and Maloney in Minneapolis, Dreyer, Storsley, Knutson, and Palmerville in Duluth, and Rupp, Anderson, Squires, and Weisberger, thank you, in Minneapolis. Resolved that the authorized contact persons for the district are as followed: Chair of the School Board, Superintendent of the Schools, Executive Assistant to Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent, CFO, Executive Director of Business Services, Director of Special Education, Manager of Facilities, Finance Manager, Business Services Secretary, Senior Human Resources Manager, Human Resources Manager for non-certified staff, and Human Resources Benefits Coordinator. I move Resolution B-1-16-3327.
Thank you, Member Leffler-Kemp. It has been moved. Do I have a second? Seconded by Member Sandsted. Any discussion? Seeing no lights, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? It passes 5-1. Member Oswald, will you please read page 7?
I move resolution selection of the district's official newspaper. Resolved by the School Board of Independent District 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota, that the district's official newspaper will continue to be the Duluth News Tribune. I move resolution B-1-16-3328.
It has been moved by Member Oswald. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Member Leffler-Kemp. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 6-0. Member Kirby, I realize I gave some people short ones and some long. Member Kirby, if you could please read page 8.
Accepting the 9 tools of civility. Whereas the residents of Duluth Public Schools ISD 709 place a high value on respect and civility in their lives, and they understand that these characteristics are essential to any healthy community. And whereas the School Board of Independent School District Number 709 supports opportunities for civil discourse and discussion in the community and within the school district. And whereas the School Board of Independent School District Number 709 addresses sometimes controversial issues about which people often feel passionately and at which times leads to uncivil behavior. And whereas an atmosphere of incivility and disrespect can have a damaging effect on the proceedings, on the quality of debate, and on the practice of democracy itself, therefore be it resolved that the School Board of Independent School District Number 709 recognizes 9 tools of civility as encouraged by Speak Your Piece, the Civility Project, that will provide increased opportunities for civil discourse in order to find positive resolutions to the issues that face our community. These tools include, number 1, pay attention. Number 2, listen. Number 3, be inclusive. Number 4, don't gossip. Number 5, show respect. Number 6, be agreeable. Number 7, apologize. Number 8, give constructive criticism. Number 9, take responsibility. Be it further resolved that the School Board of Independent School District Number 709 shall promote the use and adherence of these tools in conducting the business of the school board. I move the resolution B-1-16-3329.
Second.
It's been moved by Member Kirby and seconded by Member Leffler-Kemp. Is there any discussion? Member Johnston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move to amend this resolution by adding item number 10. Be honest and care for others.
There has been a motion to amend. Member Johnston has motioned to amend number 10, saying be honest and care for others, and it has been seconded by Member Oswald. Is there any discussion? Member Johnston.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, this is number 10 is identical to what we added on June 17, 2014 at a regular school board meeting. We had discussion. This was passed, and I think that it is a very important addition to this, and I think that it is something that we should, again, I'd like to see added to this motion. I will be supporting this motion, of course, but I think it's important that we do have some modifications like this and like we did a year and a half ago.
Thank you, Member Johnston. Any other discussion? I would agree that this tool is an opportunity for us to have a guide in the coming year and to find ways that we can work together. And there's many people in our community that are watching us and are looking at this body of people to come together and make a decision on how we want to move forward. And so I look forward to supporting this, and I think that's a good addition, Member Johnston. Thank you. We will have a vote on the amendment. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The amendment passes 6-0. And now we're back to discussion on the 9 tools of civility. Member Johnston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have one other addition, and
excuse me, Member. Are you?
I'm making a motion to amend.
To amend. Okay.
Make a motion to amend this resolution. Thank you. That'd be number 11, and that one would read, show your evidence, comma, share your reasoning.
Member Johnston has made a motion to add share your evidence, show your evidence, share your reasoning. Member Oswald has seconded. Is there any discussion? Member Johnston.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Added this after attending one of the workshops for Speak Your Piece here. This was, I think, several months ago. This was a suggested addition by Professor from UMD, Elizabeth Nelson, Professor of Communications. She suggested, she strongly recommended during this workshop that, or if it was her way, she said she would add this verbiage to that. Her specialty is communication, dialogue, how to improve dialogue, and the verbiage again, show your evidence, share your reasoning, she thought was critical to make this, the 9 rules of civility, which she was giving the workshop on, more effective. And I appreciate everybody's consideration of that.
Are there other discussions on 11? Further discussion? Member Kirby.
I think that generally we should do this anyway, so putting it down in writing doesn't seem like a bad idea to me. I'd support it.
Thank you. Further discussion? I'd also encourage us as we look at this and we come in, hopefully we'll have these, actually, we'll talk about the whole piece. So we have a motion for, Member Johnston has made a motion to amend this, thank you, for show evidence, share your reasoning. I was writing quickly here. Thank you. Do you have that down? Thank you very much. I will take a vote with no further lights on the amendment. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to amend passes 6-0. Any further discussion on the resolution for accepting the 9 tools of civility? Just look forward to holding true to these in the coming year. We need to vote on the resolution. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Resolution passes 6-0. And Member Johnston, will you please read page 9?
I move the following resolution, approving the continued participation of student school board representatives. Whereas the School Board of Duluth Public Schools, ISD 709, has included student school board representatives since January 2005, and whereas student school board representatives provide the school board with a student voice and youth perspective, and whereas the Minnesota School Board Association encourages school boards to develop a process to include student representatives, and whereas the superintendent and high school principals have reviewed and revised where necessary the selection process for appointing student school board representatives, therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Independent School District 709 approves the continued participation of 1 student school board representative from Denfield and East High Schools. I believe that means 1 from each. Be it further resolved that the term for 2016 student school board representatives will be January 4th, 2016 to January 3rd, 2017.
Do you want to read the resolution number, Member Johnston, please?
And this is resolution B1-163330.
It has been moved by Member Johnston and seconded, or do I have a second? Seconded by Member Sandstead. Any discussion? Member Oswald.
The discussion I have is that I know we have other high schools within our system, and I think a very important one is in our is on our first floor of this building, and they have a lot going on, and I would really like to make a motion to add an ALC representative to our board so we can hear more about their challenging situations in learning and their learning environment, and they're doing great things.
Has there been, thank you, Member Oswald. Superintendent, has this been brought forward in the past? What is the?
No, the original plan did call for 3, one from Denfeld Central and East, and then when Central closed, it was Denfeld and East. So there's never been a rep from what was then called Unity or ALC or ABE or AEO. That's a lot of initials, I just realized.
Yes, it is. It is. Other discussion from board members on this? Member Johnston.
I'll second Member Oswald's motion.
So, Member Oswald, are you moving to amend? Yes. Okay. So Member Oswald has moved to amend to add a student from Unity. No, my God, not. No, a Unity from downstairs from our ALC. Excuse me, I don't know our Unity from ALC, and it has been seconded by Member Johnston. Any discussion on this? All those in favor of the motion? Aye. Amendment. Excuse me. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Member Oswald. And now we move to the resolution with the amendment included. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Motion passes 6-0. With that is our meeting for today, our organizational meeting. We will see you all at committee meetings in the coming week. Members, if you could please make sure to turn in your committee preferences to Sue Tallarico today so that we can make sure that folks get put into their committees. That would be great. Thank you and have a wonderful day.